Côte du Rhône. C'est intéressant.
És most a vacsorát se rontottam el. Ízlik?
Ok, merci, c'est super bon.
Hallgassunk egy kis zenét.
Chez nous, il y a toujours eu beaucoup de musique. La télé, on la regardait, mais vraiment très peu.
Nagyon fiatalon tanultam megolvasni.
J'ai 4 sœurs, on était 5.
This was an intriguing short.
séparés de-
Off the top, there's a
2 ans
split
maximum.
screen. A man and a woman seem to be having dinner with each other, making comments about past memories, sadnesses, hopes, and desires. The gentle piano behind some of the action was appropriate to the meditative tone of the piece. I love the subtle performances of the two leads as they show their emotions with very small expressions and gestures. It was startling when his side of the screen went dark. You could really sense how lonely she was. And then the surprise ending was both clever and heartbreaking. Excellent film.
I liked this dialogue concept and the twist on the conversation. It was really surprising to see what the creators were trying to accomplish here. I think it has great performances, and I believe the edition was perfectly where the lighting and the music was on perfect sync, and you get to see the conversations like they are happening, and it was just a great job, very emotional, and I love the costume design.
I
as well.
was struck by the conflict between the physical and emotional separation of these two individuals, and also the strong emotional moment that they were sharing. I think that they were more so talking at one another than truly listening to what the other was saying and responding. I thought it was interesting that they both conveyed a sense of overwhelming sadness, and yet the male character seemed to be describing positive moments from his childhood, while the female character was describing what started off as something that could be positive, but devolved into her mental struggle.
I really loved how this was filmed because I think, especially over the past couple of years, having that kind of like split screen view of like a Zoom conversation or a Skype or a Google Meets or whatever kind of video service you might subscribe to is something that I don't think 3 or 4 years ago anyone would be used to, or anyone would be able to like really recognize and relate to. But now it seems and it feels very much like an almost normal thing to experience and to interact with. And so I thought having a film with that kind of almost access where instead of having like one point of view and the other and having it cut back and forth, or having like a side view of both things happening, you got this very front-facing view of both people at the same time. And I thought that was just such an interesting way to experience like their conversation and their interactions, because you can see all of the reactions from both people at the same time, which I just thought was a really interesting way to film something, and not necessarily something that I think a lot of people had been able to recognize or relate to a few years ago. So I thought it was an interesting way to see how things have kind of changed and progressed, and what I now consider like a normal thing.
I really enjoyed this film. I didn't understand what was being said because there weren't subtitles. But that being said, I could still tell that the acting was good, just based on how they were saying things and, you know, their physicality. So I think that says something from the performance. And yeah, I loved the split screen was a really cool idea, and obviously, you know, the ending was a really cool twist. But yeah.
Still, this one pulled me in, and that's a big testament to the actors and their performances. They were really good here. And then there were a lot of elements that helped heighten their performances. The music, that score was great. The lighting too, it all added to the story. I love that split screen. I thought it was used really well. I love the way that it disappears when she's talking to nobody and then it reappears and shows him with somebody else. Just devastating, and I could like feel all those emotions. I really hope that I get to see a subtitled version of this one day because I thought it was great, and I would love that.
All I could go by was body language and tonal cues. I think that the way that they set this up in a split screen was very smart, to have your two actors talking to one another, and both of these actors did a wonderful job. They really, really did. I thought that the sound was great. What you're looking at in this split screen, to me, I thought that it was a Zoom call, teleconferencing. And even though I couldn't understand what was being said, just from the acting alone, I ended up forming this narrative in my head of what was going on. It was probably completely wrong because language barrier, but the way that it was acted, it just seemed like the two individuals, the woman was breaking up with the gentleman. And when the gentleman finally realized that the woman was breaking up with him, he was kind of begging her to stay. Much to my surprise, the ending, so I thought that this was really interesting. I would love to know what they were actually talking about, because I know that my assessment of what I think was happening, I know that's incorrect. But it was really well done. It sucked me in. It sucked me in enough to form my own narrative.